The millionaire's laughter died in his throat as he stared at the photo on the dusty workbench. His own face, 20 years younger, smiled back at him, arm wrapped around a woman he tried desperately to forget. If you're enjoying this story of unexpected connections and second chances, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more life-changing moments like this one. Ray Donovan wiped his grease-stained hands on a rag that had seen better days, just like everything else in his small auto repair shop. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting shadows across the concrete floor where his 8-year-old daughter Lily sat doing homework, her dark curls falling across her math worksheet. "It'll be ready in 15 minutes, Ray told the impatient man in the tailored suit who'd stormed in demanding immediate service for his Bentley. The luxury car looked wildly out of place among the modest vehicles Ray typically serviced. The well-dressed stranger, James Whitfield according to his platinum credit card, had scoffed at Ray's timeline. 15 minutes? With what, magic? Do you have any idea what this car is worth? Ray had simply nodded, used to being underestimated. 15 minutes, he repeated, already sliding beneath the vehicle. James paced the small waiting area, checking his watch repeatedly. His eyes eventually wandered to the little girl quietly working through fractions, occasionally glancing up at her father with unmistakable admiration. Something about her seemed hauntingly familiar. "Is that your daughter?" James asked, his tone softer than before. Ray emerged from beneath the car, protective instinct flashing across his face. "Yes. Lily." The girl waved shyly before returning to her homework. James noticed the worn edges of her textbook, the carefully mended tear in her backpack. Despite these signs of poverty, the child radiated a quiet happiness that struck him deeply. "Where's her mother?" James asked before he could stop himself. Ray's hands stilled on the wrench. "Cancer. 3 years ago." The words hung heavy in the air between them. James felt a strange tightness in his chest as he watched Ray return to work with renewed determination, occasionally calling out encouragement to his daughter. 14 minutes later, Ray was nothing if not a man of his word, the Bentley purred to life, problem solved. James handed over his credit card, noticing the calluses on Ray's hands, the dark circles under his eyes that spoke of late nights and early mornings. "You're good," James admitted. "Really good." Ray shrugged. "Had to be. No safety net when you're raising a kid alone." Something compelled James to linger. He wandered toward the workbench where Lily had moved to draw while waiting for her father to finish. Next to her sketchbook sat a framed photograph, dusty but well-preserved. James picked it up, then froze. The young woman in the photo was unmistakable, Sarah. His Sarah. Or she had been, before he'd chosen his career over their relationship 20 years ago. Beside her stood a younger version of Ray, both of them smiling in front of this very garage. "You knew Sarah?" James whispered, his voice suddenly hoarse. Ray looked up sharply. "You knew my wife?" The pieces fell into place with devastating clarity. James stared at Lily, those familiar eyes, the determined set of her jaw. Sarah's features, but also, his own. "When was Lily born?" James asked, though he already knew the answer. 9 years ago, Ray replied, wariness creeping into his voice. "Sarah was already pregnant when we met. She never talked about the father, just said he wasn't ready for a family." James sank into a chair, the weight of 2 decades of choices crushing down on him. "I wasn't ready," he admitted. "I was building my company, focused on becoming successful. When Sarah told me she was pregnant, I panicked. Told her I couldn't be a father yet." Ray's expression hardened. "Yet you found time to become a millionaire." "I always meant to find her again, when I had something to offer," James said, the excuse sounding hollow even to his own ears. "By the time I looked, she had disappeared. Changed her number, moved away. She found me instead," Ray said quietly. "I loved her from the moment we met. And Lily, I've raised her as my own since she was born." James looked at the little girl who was watching them both with curious eyes, his daughter, who had grown up without him, who called another man Dad. "Does she know?" James asked. Ray shook his head. "Sarah wanted to tell her when she was older, but then the cancer came so quickly. We never found the right time." The silence between them stretched, filled with missed opportunities and irretrievable years. "You've done an amazing job with her," James finally said, his voice breaking. "Better than I would have." Ray studied the wealthy man before him, the expensive watch, the designer suit, the luxury car. All the things he could never provide for Lily. But he had given her something money couldn't buy, unwavering love and presence. "She needs braces," Ray said suddenly. "And the school has this science program for gifted kids. The tuition is—" "I want to help," James interrupted. "Not to replace you, never that. But to give her opportunities. To be in her life, if you'll allow it." Ray looked at his daughter, their daughter, and made a decision that would change all their lives. "She deserves to know where she comes from. Who she comes from." That evening, they sat Lily down together. As the truth unfolded, her young face registered shock, confusion, and finally, a cautious curiosity about the stranger who shared her blood. In the months that followed, James became a fixture at the garage. He learned to change oil alongside Ray, attended Lily's school performances, and discovered that his business acumen could help transform Ray's struggling shop into a thriving business. Ray found in James not a rival for Lily's affection, but an unexpected ally in the challenging journey of parenthood. And Lily blossomed with the love of two fathers who put aside their differences for her sake. Years later, the sign above the garage would read Donovan and Whitfield Auto Specialists, a testament to the family they had forged from broken pieces of the past. The millionaire who once laughed at a mechanic's promise had found something his money could never buy, redemption, and the family he nearly lost forever. If this story of unexpected connections and second chances touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that reminds us it's never too late to rewrite our endings and find our way home to the people who matter most.